Hey, little Rod, how you doing? Give me 1 second, getting everything situated here. I've missed you too. Definitely. Glad to see you back. Awesome. Can't wait to see. Hey, Andy. Okay, what am I doing? There we go. Come on, work. There we go. There we go. I think we are situated. Hopefully. Hello, Nicole. Welcome. How are you? All right, it is 10 a.m. Good morning to you. How is everyone? On the first half of the show, we'll be talking about the Bye-Bye Man of Wisconsin. Then, feather death crowns. And I'll tell you what, this really creeps me out. And I like creepy. We're going to be talking about Summerwind Mansion. It's believed to be one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin. What happened there to give it such a fearful reputation? And followed up by some ghosts in Mammoth Cave, those damn Kentucky cave system. Always hearing a lot about that place. And also some scary stories from Reddit. As always, if you're listening on the podcast portion of this, I invite you to come over to the live shows and jump in the conversation. All the show sources should be in the links below, and I will be putting in chat the Bye-Bye Man of Wisconsin, Andy. And of course, like I said, I'll be putting the links in chat. So let's go ahead and get started. Watch your ears, everyone. Nope, don't watch your ears just as of yet, because I have to share my screen. I knew there was one thing I was missing. There's always one thing. Flip back over. Come on, there we go. All right, now watch your ears. And so the week begins. Good Monday morning from Valdez, Alaska. Welcome to the Shadows of the Moons show. It is Monday morning, and we are live on YouTube, Facebook, DLive, Twitch, and Mixer under the same name. So come on in, join the fun, and get into the conversation. Just like always, Mondays are about Monday Musings, which is all about paranormal talk. We share stories from the internet and, of course, your stories live on air. Without further ado, let's get started.
And now, coming to you live from Alaska, here's a woman that has been around many moons and has seen many shadows. Here is your host, Shadows of the Moon.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Hey, Venoms. How are you? Welcome. What is going on? It could be different from that, Andy. I'm thinking it is. I will say, on doing research, it is very hard to do research on something that has become a movie. Same when I was doing like the Glimmer Man, even though the Glimmer Man is, a predator type being that goes invisible and all you see is through it. It is very hard to do research on it because of Steven Seagal's movie, The Glimmer Man. Hey, Mr. Minkster. What is up? Thank you. Do you like that intro? I tell you, it's not your quality of intro, Mr. Minkster, but it's getting there. What is up? It's good to see you, Rye. Good to see you. So anyway, like I was saying, yeah, when you're researching stuff that's something that's out of the movies, even though it was an urban legend before the movie, it's a pain in the ass. I'll tell you that. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm sure you all know Mr. Minkster in chat there. That is my son. I need him to do my intros. He's got a good voice. But I hope everybody is well. How y'all doing? Did you guys have a good weekend? Hopefully. What is going on? Okay, there we go. Everybody have a good weekend. Did you party it up? What's going on? So yeah, we're going to be talking about the Bye Bye Man. He comes through the Ouija board. We know that much. Then we're going to talk about feather death crowns, which this creeped me out as much as I was doing research. I'm not going to lie, it creeped me out a little bit. And then we're going to be talking to you about Summerwind Mansion, like I said. It's a haunted place in Wisconsin, and you guys will probably know the name as soon as I mention the other name of it. And then the Kentucky Cave System. That place never ever fails. It's where they said the goblins are supposed to be hiding in Hellier. That was all about, well, not all about the Kentucky Cave System, but it led them to there. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that yet. Nice, Little Red, pack to hit the road, going south. Nice. Are you going to Florida? Are you meeting up everybody down there? That's cool. Be safe on your trip. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the Bye Bye Man, again, like I said, let's go ahead and share the screen since, that's what we're supposed to do. Wrong one. Man, I need to, they need to color code those so I know exactly what I'm doing. Nice, Little Red. Good. That's awesome. So the Bye Bye Man is based on a real Wisconsin ghost story. The true story behind a series of Ouija board. First of all, has anybody seen? Hey, Ron, welcome. Has anybody seen the movie The Bye Bye Man? I have not seen it. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen it. But after this, I might want to see it. Although it did get bad reviews. but I was looking at the urban legend. I wasn't looking to watch the movie. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna have to check it out. It did get bad reviews on some sorts. Some people are gonna get bad reviews either way, but I'm gonna have to check it out after this. So anyway, this is a true story behind a series of Ouija board experiments that uncovered the frightening legend of the Bye Bye Man. Now I don't know if you can see that too well, but that's the Bye Bye Man. He's just like, I guess he was an albino, and he yeah, we'll read on. I'll let you know, but he's kind of creepy looking. So the story of the Bye Bye Man is recounted by historian of the strange Robert Damien Schneck in the story The Bridge to Body Island. Began in the town of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin in the fall of 1990. A close friend of Schneck's, a graduate student with a degree in cultural anthropology, was living there with two other friends when they received an old Ouija board someone had found in an attic. Hey, Joker! Oh, thank you for stopping in. Thank you so much for stopping in. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hope all is well with you. Three friends decided to conduct a series of experiments with the board to test the unconscious ionometer effect attributed to the ghostly movement of the planchette. They used it in a variety of different ways, including writing the answers down instead of saying them aloud, playing blindfold in the dark, while one of them watched with a flashlight to record the answers. They made constant contact with an entity that called itself the spirit of the board, which seemed to control and limit the other entities it allowed them to communicate with. None of them apparently were spirits that had ever lived, but rather than some kind of free-ranging consciousness. Each entity seemed to have individual, discernible personalities expressed by the words they used and the way they moved the planchette. The spirit board only allowed them to communicate with about 8 different entities, claiming it was to protect them from the dangerous ones. But they kept pushing to speak to the others, eager to make contact with a spirit they had actually lived so they could get details that they could verify. Which, when playing with a Ouija board, that's basically what you do. You try to get, speak to spirit and give you some credible information that you can look up and verify that they actually lived. Eventually, over several sessions, the board transmitted the story of the Bye Bye Man, an albino orphan born in Louisiana who eventually turned into a murderer. Hopping trains to get around along the Compassion along Gloomsinger, which he had made himself from the eye and tongues of his victims, the Bye Bye Man honed in on anyone who was talking or even thinking about him. Great, now I just haunted y'all. No, I'm joking. When he found them, he would kill them and added their organs to a bag he carried around called a sack of gore. Nicole. That's your opinion. No problem. When they asked where the Bye Bye Man was, the board said he was in Chicago and coming closer. So, when apparently this is what happened, okay? 10 strange details we learned about the true story of the Bye Bye Man. As with any horror movie portraying the base of a true story, the Bye Bye Man takes a lot of liberties when it sources material. Um, of course, they say it's a true story, but it's usually built up for that movie thing. Like I said, I had a hard time researching this urban legend. It's a true urban legend, but everywhere I looked, this movie would come up. Hey, Skook, how you doing? What's going on? So the Bye Bye Man is a blind albino hobo from Louisiana who grew up in the orphanage in the early 1900s. He tried to escape many times, finally getting away by stabbing one of the caretakers with scissors, nearly to death. After that, he rode the rails across America, murdering people whenever he roamed. his weapon possibly being those same scissors. Good to hear. I can understand that, Joker. I definitely can understand that. Nice scoop. Nice to hear that they're putting in your floor. That's awesome. Getting closer and closer to it being done. The Bye-Bye Man's traveling companion is a creature some might call a pet. And this is where it gets interesting. Made of sewn together eyeballs and tongues, all of them cut from his victims, initially carried around his sack of gore. The sidekick, named Goomslinger, is brought to life by some sort of dark magic, maybe voodoo. If someone thinks about the Bye-Bye Man, a psychic beacon reaches him and that someone becomes a target. The closest thing to a logical motive being because they are gossiping about him. The Bye-Bye Man then sets out towards the person via the train, the beacon, allowing him to telepathically hone in on their whereabouts as long as the thoughts continue. If the person stops thinking about him, the signal is broken. So don't think about him, okay? Oh, I bet, Joker, no doubt. That's one thing here. Everybody's opinions matter, and when it comes to the paranormal, I totally believe that everybody has had their experiences, you know? Myself, I used to collect Ouija boards. I used to love Ouija boards. Well, I still love Ouija boards. They don't bother me. I've never had anything um per se evil come through one with me. And yeah, to me they're just another tool in my arsenal, in my belt loop, you know. So once the bye-bye man is close enough to his new victim, he sends out Gloomsinger to help locate the person. When found, the little guy gives a loud, shrill whistle to draw in his master, and then killing commences and new eyeballs and tongues go into the sack. Isn't that lovely? What about different? I played with Ouija boards. I've played with the Astral board. I've played with what's that other one called? Um, I don't know. I can't think of what it's called. It's a Marty Farber board though. I use a pendulum board sometimes. I use a lot of boards. So, in this specific story, three friends in Wisconsin came in contact with the Bye-Bye Man via a Ouija board because apparently you can communicate with a living entity's consciousness that way with the spirit of the board in a go-between. After learning his story, including the part where they'd just become his latest targets, the trio stopped their Ouija experiments. Later that year, one of the friends who had been having terrible nightmares and panic attacks inspired by the Bye-Bye Man seances was walking along a railroad bridge to Wausau, Wisconsin's Body Island, really Barker Street Island, nicknamed such because bodies of drowned lumberjacks would wash up there. And she heard a shrill whistle that kept getting louder and louder that surely belonged to Goomslinger. She bolted as fast as she could away from the spot. About the same time, another of the friends who had been having similar nightmares and attacks awoke to knocking at his door with the boarding house he lived in. It was accompanied by a voice of another friend inviting him out for breakfast, and he could see someone's feet on the other side of the door, but he realized it was actually in the middle of the night and ignored whomever it was, presumably the Bye-Bye Man, until they went away. Eli, the one member of the three not to have encountered later yet, held onto the Ouija board they'd used during the experiments and keeps it locked away in a cabin along with other supernatural objects, a bar of soap from a haunted sink, a book of black magic, and a cursed poison monkey spear acquired from a local anthropologist. Schneck believes that he avoids the Bye-Bye Man himself by always thinking of him only as BBM and ever saying the full name aloud on the radio. And those times, by making thousands of people simultaneously think of him, it lowers his chance of being the next target. So this is the writer of the book, The Bye Bye Man. So that's how he got through it. So he thinks is that he believes just by saying BBM or thinking BBM and ever only saying his full name loud on the radio and having everybody that's listening to that radio show consciously think about it. So like he's getting all these different, all these different targets. He thinks the movie will now have millions thinking about the Bye Bye Man, making it even more difficult for him to be pinpointed. Schneck also thinks the Bye Bye Man story, communicated through the Ouija board, could have just been used as a getaway for evil spirits to make their friends vulnerable enough to get in and possess them. Of course, Schneck also thinks of all it could have been made up, not intentionally, but through the subconscious suggestion built up through the experiments conducted by those friends. Kind of like what we've talked about before. Can we manifest spirits? Like make them real if we think about them. Schneck is the sort of writer who likes to get to the bottom of mysterious stories he presents and not so much debunk them as to explain through scientific, psychological, and folkloric expertise. He admits that the bridge to Body Island, aka Bye Bye Man, is a curious diversion for him that is not based on any record of history or legend. He first heard about it from a friend, one of the supposed three friends, during a Devil's Night party. It was based on actual experiences, and Schneck has corroborated the tale with the other two, whom to this day want nothing to do more with it. They signed releases for the movie, but that's as much as they would comply. So these guys are really freaked out about it. So, I mean, that is how their reaction is. I tend to believe it more. Do you know what I mean? And maybe that's why I can't find it a lot on the web, is because nobody wants to talk about it. Ron. That's hilarious. What especially fascinating about the story, and Schneck also acknowledges this, is how many layers of narration there are. He wrote and tells the story that he heard from a friend who heard the story via the Ouija spirit board, which was relaying the story via the Bye Bye Man. And after publication, others have shared the story, and it's become a mere minor urban legend, comparable to or mistaken for the Slender Man to many. And now there's a Hollywood take. Sorry about that, guys. So, what's definitely true about this true story is that some college kids got freaked out while playing around with an Ouija board, which is pretty common. And one of those kids was already prone to having panic attacks before the experience. And two of them had already believed that they had paranormal experiences before. One with a ghost in the mirror, and the other with a ghostly phone call. They were also into folk tales. And that comes to my question. Did these kids manifest this thing? Like, not manifest it into coming out of the Ouija board, but just they started talking to the Ouija board, right? And this whole Bye Bye Man thing came up. And so after hearing from what the board said, they manifested the Bye Bye Man into life. That's why she heard the whistle on the train, or on the train tracks, I should say. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how we have very powerful minds. You know what I mean? That's my take on it. We have very powerful minds. Um, there's a lot that could be brought into consciousness with our minds, I believe. Did the Bye Bye Man, "Hey, Tamara, how you doing? Welcome, welcome." Do you think they, Yeah, exactly, Topos, gotta love them. Exactly, Skook. I think a lot of these urban legends get started by something happening. I think that's what I like to do too when I research is get to the bottom of it. And, I just think that it manifests over time with people doing it. Just as well, none of those kids were tripping when they possibly manifested. No shit, Andy. No shit. I mean, man, back in the day, I used to get creeped out before I got into truly into paranormal. I get freaked out about everything. You know what I mean? Same with Eddie. He'll tell you he used to get freaked out about any little thing, and that's how I was. Now, not so much. I agree, Shadows. Our mind is stronger than we think. We only use 10%. Exactly, Ron. Exactly. I mean, I think an urban legend gets started by something happening. And I'm not saying that something didn't happen to freak these kids out. I truly believe that it did. You know what I mean? But you sit there and think about it. And then if you're like us who think about the paranormal all the time, okay, if you're like me and think about the paranormal all the time, um, you just constantly are manifesting stuff. I mean, look how the Slender Man, look at what was the one we just brought it up the other day about the horn man, the siren man, you know. And he says it could change the color of your undies real fast. Yes, to go messing with psychedelics and the paranormal at the same time. Little Red, they say wise old tales as well. Exactly. I believe all urban legends started somewhere. You know what I mean? Just like, stories, you know, that I don't know. I think our minds do a lot of it. And I've brought this up before. If you ever watch Chad Kalick's is it Red Sky? I think it's Red Sky. Don't quote me on it. But he goes in and he does an experimentation like that. Yeah, Siren Head, that's it. Yeah, exactly. He does an experimentation or an experiment where him and his crew go in feeling different things. Like he goes in investigating the castle as a ghost hunter. He has paranormal stuff happen to him, right? Then he sends Mary Beth in, which she's tired. He doesn't let her sleep for the past 24 hours. Nothing happens because she's so tired that all she's thinking about is basically going to bed, and then the other ones, he does the same thing to, only in different ways. And none of them had experiences because of the situation they were put into. But as ghost hunters, they would probably have stuff happen, paranormal stuff happen. So it makes you think on how much we can really manifest. And especially if you're in a group and the collective, if you all go into a group, say we all go into a known haunting, like the Gray Lady, okay? We go into this one thing and we're all thinking about the Gray Lady. Are we going to see her? Let's get evidence, stuff like that. Who's to say our conscious minds collectively aren't going to manifest her? Yeah, but that's just my way of thinking. I'm not saying nothing happens because I believe everything your experience happens. There's no doubt in my mind that you don't have an experience, that you have an experience. It might not be Ron's over there mooning everybody. He is a mooner. Um, don't, your experience is definitely real. You know, if it freaked you out and got that scared, hell yeah. Nobody can take that away from you, and don't ever let anybody take that away from you. But that makes us delve even deeper sometimes, right? Look at us all here. Most of us are into the paranormal. You know what I mean? We're here for a reason, right? So, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is feather death crowns, an Appalachian omen of death. And this really creeped me out. So, in Appalachian culture, a bizarre phenomenon of feather crowns found in the pillows of sick people became known as an omen of death. Yeah, Mandela effect, exactly. Yeah. I told you guys about my Fruit Loops. I'm telling you, it switched back. It wasn't cool. It messes with your mind. When you have the Mandela effect happen to you, that's another thing, you know? Just like me and just like last night, we were sitting there talking. One of my employees, not my employee, but one of the people that I work with, her car is sitting outside. And Eddie and my boss swear to God that's not her car. And I know damn well that's her car. And they're like, no, she doesn't have tinted windows. And I'm like, yeah, she does. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for her to go out and get in that car because I'm going to prove them both wrong. But if that's changed, and that's not her car, because I even brought that up to him. I said, well, you know what that means, guys? Because they like picking on me. I said, that means that I'm vibrating higher and my timeline has changed. Yeah, that's what I said. Hey, Cassie, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Mandela, see, yeah, that's weird. None of my scars have changed. I still have my boo-boos from when I was little. But other things have changed. The way I look at, I don't know. Yeah, I know one of these days I want to do a Mandela effect. I had it all planned out at one time. I think it was last year though. Um, the Mandela of our bodies. Like our heart has moved over um to the middle. Our There's different yeah, it's weird. It's a lot of weird. Oh, welcome back, Nicole. Sorry about that. That's wild. When scars start changing, that's kinda yeah. I would definitely that would freak me out a little bit. So anyway, about these feather death crowns. So what it is you got it say you got a feather pillow, feather down pillow, right? And you're sick and you're laying on them. If they find one of these little feather crowns in that pillow made from the feathers that are in the pillow, that's the sign of your death. How creepy is that? Hey, Freaky Geek, welcome. How creepy is that? I have a feather down pillow, but I'm scared to check it. I don't want to know. Feather death pillows are about as rare as the Loch Ness Monster, but once upon a time they were common as could be. These objects become known as death crowns, or less commonly, angel crowns. Death crowns are usually elaborated, interlinking designs that resemble a disc or a crown. I don't know, Skook, but this is what they believed in. The quills always pointed inward, and though rare, only found in feather pillows of the seriously ill or recently deceased. Because of the isolated rural nature of the area, the phenomenon appears to be unique to Appalachia or locations where some of these mountain folk migrated, such as Missouri, Indiana, and Ohio. But it's almost exclusively a lost belief now that most people have switched out of their feather pillows for comfort foam or synthetic fibers. Yes, Appalachia does have a lot of superstitions. Hey, Mary, welcome. How you doing, hon? I was fortunate enough to overhear a Death Crown story in my youth. Otherwise, I'd likely be unaware such a concept ever existed. My family has lived, and I forgot to put the links in the other. All the links will be down in the bottom if I forget to put them in the chat. Um, my family lived in Hale County, Georgia for generations, just miles from foothills of Blue Ridge Mountains. My great aunt paid us a visit when I was maybe 5 years old. She started talking about the recent deaths of her elderly father. He had been killed while walking around a bus he had just exited it. A car sped by without caution, striking the old man. She was elected the sorrowful chore of sorting through her father's belongings. As she lifted her father's ancient feather pillow, she felt something solid inside it. She started to throw the pillow away, but something compelled her to open it. She reached inside and probed with her fingers in search of what she had felt. To her astonishment, she pulled out an intricately woven wreath of feathers, roughly the size of a bird's nest. She took this as a sign her father had gone to heaven. Andy's going fishing. What are you fishing for? Exactly, Freaky Geek. That's why I do the research on superstitions and urban legends and that. I love finding out where they come from. No worries, no worries. But I want to know what he's fishing, going to be fishing for. I'm telling you, I these months can't come quick enough to go salmon fishing. But anyway, I was let's see. After several minutes of convincing, she persuaded me to go play. After a while, I forgot about the whole thing until bed, of course. I recalled squeezing and kneading my pillow in search of anything that might remotely feel like a death wreath. I didn't. Finally, I fell asleep. Maybe a mermaid. So, vintage death crowns in a bell jar with postmortem photo of funeral card. That was normal. These odd formations are usually interpreted as heavenly sign, but skeptics believe the movements of a dying person tossing and turning combined with feverish sweats could cause the objects to take form. If you're one of the few that still sleeps on feather pillows, do not lose hope. If you find a death crown in your pillow tonight, I know I'm going to tell you, if I would start freaking out, I would so freak out. Considering I have a pillow on top of that one. So if there's one there, Nicole's putting Andy to work. A collection of these oddities can be found at the Museum of Appalachia in Clinton, Tennessee. So here's another story about them. This one they've had for years. Vera Taylor of Charles, West Virginia, has 4 death crowns that belong to members of her family. She shared that I inherited an old trunk of my dad's, and there were 4 inside the trunk. I guess they were pretty old because he didn't know whose pillows they came from. He had inherited the trunk from his mother, who passed away in 1947. Dad had always told me that the person that died on the pillow went to heaven. So, I mean, it's still I'm glad I fluffed my pillows. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you so much. So, yeah, what do you guys would you guys freak out? I'm telling you. That came from gotmountainlife.com. This was the one I just told you about. Their father has, or well, she has inherited 4 death pillows from her family. But yeah, creepy stuff. I don't know what I would do if I had found No, just not cool. The next story comes out of Cult of Weird, and that's where most of these come out with. Summerwind Mansion. What happened inside Wisconsin's most notorious haunted house? Summerwind Mansion is believed to be one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin. What happened there to give such a fearful reputation? Summerwind, so it's also known as Lamont Mansion. Some of you have probably heard of that, not Summerwind. Um, it's its most notorious haunted house. It was built in the shores of West Bay Lake in 1916 by Robert Patterson Lamont. While not much seems to be recorded from this period, legend says holes in the basement door were the result of Lamont's firing his pistol at what he believed to be an intruder, until the bullets passed right through it. You are sweet, Kathy. You are. After Lamont's death, Summerwind changed several times. I'm thinking that's supposed to say Summerwind changed hands several times and spent some time vacant before Arnold and Ginger Hinshaw moved in with their children in 1970. It wasn't long before they began to experience strange phenomena, including mumbling voices in empty rooms, doors and windows opening by closing themselves, and in the apparition of a woman. Hey, Eli. Welcome, welcome. How you doing, hon? But it wasn't until the discovery of human corpses in the hidden closet compartment that things got bad. Arnold began to have a nervous breakdown, often playing his Hammond organ in a frenzy late at night, while his frightened family huddled together and cried. Arnold said demons in his head demanded that he play. During this time, Ginger attempted suicide, and eventually Arnold was sent away for treatment, and Ginger moved herself and the children out of the house. You're at the store, Eli? What you buying us? Are you buying us food? I want a pinwheel. I love me a good pinwheel. They had only occupied Summerwind for 6 months before that it drove them that mad. Ginger's father, Raymond Bobber, decided to buy the house. He wrote about the time there in the out-of-print book, The Carver Effect, in which he claims the house is haunted by the ghost of an 18th century British explorer named Jonathan Carver. Bobber claimed that the spirit was searching for a deed sealed somewhere in its foundation that gave him the rights to the northern third of Wisconsin. In June of 1988, lightning struck the abandoned mansion and it burned to the ground. All that remains today is a field of stone foundation and chimneys being slowly swallowed by the forest. That's pretty wild. Do you think the lightning was supernatural so nobody would find that deed? I'd love to read that book. I'm going to have to look it up and find it. I know they said it's out of print, so it'll probably cost an arm and a leg to buy, but I wouldn't mind reading that book to see what happened to him. The link is in chat. All right, Eli, take care. The next one we have is Ghosts of Mammoth Cave. Damn Kentucky cave. I want to go there so bad, though. You guys know about the Kentucky caves, right? Visit the mansion. Yeah, Nicole, yeah. I wouldn't mind, but there's nothing there anymore because the lightning struck it. The lightning got it and it burnt down. But still, to walk on those grounds, I think it was Carver saying, you know what? If I can't have that deed, nobody can. You never know. Right? That's true, Freaky Geek. So, in the depths of Kentucky's treacherous Mammoth Cave, a place is so menacing it inspired H.P. Lovecraft's first story. Wisconsin paranormal researcher, this comes from Cult of Weird as well. Wisconsin paranormal researcher J. Nathan Couch recently took a legendary trip to Kentucky. Legend tripping is an act of visiting an alleged haunted location to try and experience the legend for yourself. So, who does legend tripping? Um, I will tell you one person that does it, and I freaking love it, is because he's from my favorite 80s band, and that's the drummer for Poison, Ricky Rocket. If you follow his channel, he does a lot of legend tripping, and it's pretty freaking, he's got some awesome stories on there. And he was, like I said, he was my favorite drummer in the 80s. And, to watch, and I found out about him doing it through Haunted Media. And I found out about that and I was like, oh my God, my two worlds have combined. Legend tripping basically is you're going to different haunted locations and seeing if you can have an experience. That's what legend tripping is, like urban legends, to see if you actually, have an experience with it. Yeah, I would love to go through. That's where the gremlins are, the hobgoblins of the Kentucky cave system. I want to go there. And if you watch Hellier, they get led there. So it's pretty cool. The Mammoth Cave system is without the doubt, the world's greatest subterranean wonder. Located in the area that's roughly only a few miles in diameter, the cave twists and turns and stretches to the length of some 400 miles and the depth of 30 stories. And that's only the explored tunnels. Every weekend, more exploration occurs and new mileage is recorded. The world's longest cave system literally becomes larger every single week. It's suspected that hundreds of miles of caves remain undiscovered. Mammoth Cave is an astonishing place that's definitely worth anyone's leisure time. But what makes it worthy of a legend trip? The fact that it's reputable, the world's largest haunted place with a macabre history stretching back to prehistory. The first evidence of human beings exploring the pitch black halls of Mammoth Cave dates back 4,000 years ago when prehistoric Native Americans first dared to venture under the earth. There was primitive stone tools and no light beyond what their small torches could cast. They mined the cave walls for its minerals. At some point, these people began burying their dead inside the caves. At least 4 bodies have been excavated since the 1800s. The dry mineral rich environment of the cave turned into a perfectly preserved mummies. Many of them were on display for certain amounts of time during the cave's history of being a privately owned tourist attraction. The natives continued to delve into the darkness for 2,000 years until their presence abruptly stops. No one has yet concluded why they abandoned the cave after 2 millennia. In the late 1700s, a member of the Hochin family found the cave while bear hunting. During the War of the 1812, the cave was used as a saltpeter mine to mine the production of gunpowder. After the war ended, the cave became one of the nation's first tourist attractions once the mummies were discovered. This was a period in history that the mummies were believed to be members of a lost race of people, rather than Native American ancestors, which added to the mystery of the place. Affluent citizens from all over the country would come to the caves. In 1839, the cave was even witness to good old-fashioned 19th century quackery. A medical doctor from Louisville named Frank Gorin established a small village for tuberculosis patients inside the cave. At this point in history, no one had the slightest clue how to treat this fatal respiratory illness. Gorin believed that the pure air of the cave would help the lungs to battle infections. Those who didn't leave the cave after a few weeks of the stale, gloomy darkness of the cave died. Some of those who did die were discovered by tourists as the tour routes wound around the cave through the TB village. Much of this TB hospital still stands and can be seen on certain present-day cave tours. You like mummies? In 1905, legendary cosmic horror author H.P. Lovecraft wrote his earliest stories using Mammoth Cave as a setting. In The Beast in the Cave, a tourist gets separated from the group and finds himself stalked by a vicious albino hominid. The ghost of Floyd Collins. During the early 20s, most of the caves were privately owned, and more people were flocking to the area to vacation. So many entrances to the cave system had been discovered or been made that dozens of caves were now competing for the tourist dollar. A man named Floyd Collins owned a section called Crystal Cave, but he was losing out in what has now become the Kentucky Cave Wars. His cave was hard to get to and lacked lodging. He was losing money. Collins began excavating an entrance to Sand Cave, which he hoped would steal visitors from the then privately owned Mammoth Cave. While excavating, an enormous boulder shifted, pitting his leg. He was found a day later, and what followed was one of the nation's first and most morbid media frenzies. Radio and newspaper carried regular updates on Collins' predicament, and soon gawkers and well-wishers from all over were flocking to central Kentucky to follow the drama. Hamburger and hot dog stands popped up and souvenirs were sold. Meanwhile, rescuers were at a loss to move the boulder. So this guy's just laying there? Oh, man. Eventually, another cave-in occurred, blocking Collins off from all help. Now he couldn't even be saved by amputation. After 2 weeks, Collins died alone from exposure. I mean, that's sad. But Collins' story doesn't end there. Floyd was eventually removed from the cave after several years and interred in a family cemetery. Floyd's father, Lee, sold the cave and property to a local dentist named Thomas, who somehow obtained permission to exhume Floyd's body and put it on display in a glass lid coffin in the entrance of Sand Cave, where hundreds of tourists could gawk at his decaying corpse. God, we are so weird. It gets weirder. Eventually, Floyd's body was stolen, presumably by a rival cave owner who were angry at the amount of tourists the body was attracting. And after a few days, his body was discovered in a field, minus one leg that was never recovered. And he was put back in the coffin in Sand Cave, now sans the viewing lid, though people still peeked inside. And that's him on display. Man, what people do for a buck. The National Park System bought Sand Cave in 1961, closed the cave to tourists, but surprisingly didn't give Floyd a proper burial until 1989. Not surprisingly, a plethora of ghost activity is said to occur here in areas associated with Floyd Collins' grim demise. His voice has been heard calling for help, and objects have been thrown. It should be noted that in recent decades, Floyd's caves have been found to be connected to the Mammoth Cave. Throughout other areas of the cave system, apparitions have been seen, usually of African Americans. The cave's earliest tour guides and explorers were all male African American slaves, and many even held church services and their families inside certain chambers. That's crazy. Mammoth Cave tours. On July 28th, 2013, my wife and I visited the cave, and I experienced absolutely nothing paranormal, anyways. The tour group usually consists of 100 tourists and 2 to 4 park rangers. Though rangers have reported bizarre experiences on tours, so many people in a relatively confined space do not allow for many paranormal encounters. The cave itself was amazing, and though I didn't hear Floyd Collins' cries for help or see ghostly tour guides from the 1800s, I left the cave in wonder. Am I showing up on screen? Oh, there. Okay. There we go. Never mind. I see myself. Oh, I believe it, Mary. I believe it. There has been weddings, funerals, proposals, all in them caves. Oh, I believe it. When the walk ended, we decided the legend trip had been a bust, though a fascinating and beautiful bust. And that's what's great about legend tripping, because you're going there, but you're seeing this beautiful countryside anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's like people coming here and going, "Oh God, it's gorgeous, but damn, is it expensive?" um, so we had to settle for an unbridled beauty of Mammoth Cave National Park. Sorry, I hit the mic. After looking over some brochures, we decided the trail we'd like to hike before dark was Cedar Sink Trail. The trail is a 2-mile loop located about 15-minute drive from the visitor center. The cave system is formed as water is taken into the ground and over thousands of years carves out the granite and limestone beneath the earth. Cool, Mary. I will definitely look it up. Cedar Sink is an area where the underground rivers briefly emerge before soaking back in the earth. By the time we reached the trail, the sky was starting to dim. About a quarter mile down the trail, my wife half joked we'd ended up stranded in a trail past dark. I laughed and added, "Yeah, with a bunch of Kentucky Bigfoot and weird cave ghosts roaming around." She didn't think that was very funny, so I shut up and we continued on. I love this guy. That's me and Eddie talk right there. That's how we are. You'll see. You'll see, because he's going to start being my co-host as soon as I get this stupid iPad thing. About 10 minutes later, she spotted some unusual looking plants growing alongside the trail. Unable to decide what they were, she started on again. I lingered a moment, staring at the patch of plants and taking in the scenery when I saw something like in the likes of which I've never seen. Suddenly, among the mysterious plants, I clearly saw a woman's face about 3 feet from the trail. Though I'm writing this article a full 9 days after the encounter, I can vividly picture it when I close my eyes. The woman appeared to be Caucasian, or at the very least, fair-skinned. She seemed to be in her late 20s or 30s. Her hair was long and black, which she wore up in a bun with one singular curl hanging down on her forehead. Oh, we all know that's Tal. Um, at least I do. My mom used to tell me I was that girl. Her skin was a pale gray, her nose was thin, and her chin was angular. So, I mean, he's got details about this, so he remembers it quite vividly. This face was solid, but appeared flat and one-dimensional. She wore a disinterested look on her face, reminiscent of faces from the 19th century photographs. At the time, no one smiled. At that time, no one smiled for the camera because of the exposure times that took minutes rather than split seconds. For all intents and purposes, it seemed to be in the blink of an eye, someone had clipped a face with a vintage photo and posed them in front of the plants. Though my description is lengthy, I probably only saw the face for a full second. Immediately after seeing the face, I turned to follow my wife. It was though my mind couldn't interpret that I had seen quickly enough to keep my eyes on it. I immediately turned back to the plants and exclaimed, "The hell?" My wife turned around alarmed and asked me what I'd seen. I ignored her for several seconds and continued staring at the area. While I assumed she became more thoroughly concerned about my mental health, when I finally told her what I saw, she began to get frightened. So we began to downplay the whole thing and we continued our walk. I had no clue how long it'd take us to walk an unfamiliar 2-mile trail, and I didn't want her to have something to fixate one if we ended up walking back in the dark. Yeah, it's so true, Freaky Geek. It's amazing how much detail one can see a split second. It is, but when something sticks in your mind, man, it sticks there. Since this event occurred, I've thought about it over and over again. The only time I've ever thought I'd seen an apparition was in my peripheral vision, something one can easily explain away. Though my sightings was brief, it was extremely vivid. I was looking right at it. The face was substantial and it occurred in more or less broad daylight. Twilight was still roughly 45 minutes to an hour away. I suppose I could have been a hallucination, but perhaps for the reasons I don't understand, my mind pulled some stock image from some conscious memory. I have I've an interest in genealogy and antique stores, so old photographs are something I'm familiar with. However, this woman's face didn't seem familiar to me at all, and I have no clue why my mind would choose such a seemingly random image to display. Was it because I was subconsciously thinking about the alleged ghost of Mammoth Cave? If so, you would expect that I would have imagined a white male like Floyd Collins, or the very least an African American, since that's what's normally reported seen in the caves. We continued our walk, marveled at Cedar Sink, and narrowly avoided a confrontation with a bear. We found a large, fresh tracks on the trail as we hiked back out, but we didn't experience anything else paranormal. If there is a moral to the story, is that ghosts appear in unlikely places. Hey, Citizen Z, how are you? Welcome, welcome. So yeah, I mean, this guy remembers this, and he's right. I mean, why would it? Um, why would your brain? I mean, why would your brain do anything really? But seeing something random as a woman out there that's usually not seen out by the caves. I'm doing good. Z, thank you for asking. So, I mean, that's pretty freaking cool, right? To me, at least. I do want to go to the Kentucky caves. I wanted to go to the Kentucky caves for a long time. Um, Out here we have cave systems, but it's more from Gold Rush. And people out here carry. So, it's kind of scary to just wander into, claims, especially if there's claims out there. I don't want to run into those people. I mean, no, they're not like back in the day. Well, they shoot you and ask questions later. They'll, actually talk to you. But still, you never know. Their gold rush, I mean, gold fever is still, I'm sure, tried and true. We'll have to see, Mary. We'll have to see, definitely. Yeah. I've been wanting to go in those caves for years. I want to see the hobgoblins. That's what I want to see. Everybody's like, let's go see the ghosts. And I'm like, no, I want to see the goblins. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll have to check it out one day, seriously. So I found these stories and I thought they were wild. I mean, extremely, you know. No, you were been in my stream before, Z. In rock, opposite direction, 1 hour away. Yeah, well, I'm just gonna have to take off like a month and come down there if we're gonna explore all the caves. It's gonna be a wild trip. Yeah, take a mirror for the dinner table as you eat, you see a goblin. That's true. You do. So this person had he said, "So I've been a career paramedic, but this happened when I only had been on for 5 years. Um, this has never left me to this day, and I shit you not, it happened exactly like this." This is from, Rowan 30112. Oh, no, that's not 12, that was 12 months ago. Rowan 30301 off of Reddit. I was driving home on a rural highway one rainy afternoon. It was really pouring, and the traffic had slowed down to about 50 miles per hour. I was following two vehicles, and we rounded a bend in the road as a small sports car on the opposite side crossed the center line and hit the small SUV that was leading the three of us vehicles on my side of the road. I immediately pulled over and dialed 911. It was a bad one. I got out to check everyone. There was wailing coming from the SUV and the side of the road. That's always a good thing because people are breathing. So I went down in the field past the ditch to check on the sports car. There were two young guys in the car. The force of the impact had driven the engine to where the front passenger seat should be. The passenger was still buckled, his crumpled hand grabbing the oh shit handle overhead. The entire section of the car shoved into the back seat area. The car at the back had just peeled away, as had the passenger's tops of his head. His jawbone jutted out, ragged in jaw. He was clearly deceased, but I felt for a pulse anyway. All while listening to the gasping, raging, dragging breaths of the driver. No pulse on the passenger. I tried to figure out how to deal with the driver, but there was nothing I could do. The car had literally wrapped around him, and it would take extrication team to get him out. Um, Listening to his dying breath, I apologized out loud to him that I couldn't do anymore. Told him I was sorry to leave him, but the others needed my help too. In my heart, I knew he'd never make it, so I went to render aid where it was needed. In triage, we call this black tagging a patient that isn't going to survive. I did what I could for the family in the SUV. Emergency medical people and fire services got to the scene and took over. The entire family had injuries, but all survived. The mother had permanent brain damage and lost an eye. But the whole day, those two guys in a red sports car stayed in my mind. That night, I was home alone and getting ready for bed with just the bedside lamp on, and I heard something in the hallway. It got louder as it came closer down the dark hallway toward my open door. It was like thump, drag, thump, drag. I absolutely froze. A broken hand curled around the frame of my door, and then that kid from the passenger seat was standing there, busted up like he was in the car. Guys, I'm totally serious. He looked at me, and I can't recall the exact words of what he said, but it was something along the line, "Hey, my friend wants you to know he understands. He wants you to know he's okay. We both are. Thanks for trying." He stood there for a few seconds, just looking at me, and then he stepped back into the shadows. let go of the door frame, and I listened to him drag back down the hallway into nothing. I turned on every damn light I could. I slept with the lights on for 2 full weeks. I clipped out their death notices from the paper later that week. Turns out they were both high school students on their way home from a wrestling tournament. Their car hydroplaned for what the investigation determined. I'd never recognized the blonde-headed kid that had come to me as his healthy, unwrecked self. Freaked me the hell out that he came to me all busted up. I still have the newspaper clippings, and I'll never forget them, nor the ghostly visit. Anyway, that's my experience. I've seen a lot of shit in my 29-year career, but nothing quite that visceral ever before nor since. Pretty wild story. Pretty wild story. I can't imagine, you know, that happening. Welcome back, Lil Red. So the last story is forest counter with a creature warning, very demonic, terrifying, reader beware. So, of course I had to bring this up. This was posted by Representative Gift One. Excuse me. She goes, right, this is a secondhand account, but I figured you guys would want to hear it. Please let anyone know if you've had similar accounts or can figure out what the creatures are. So let's see. Hello, Joanne. How are you? Welcome. So it says, I was in Shenandoah at Stricter Knob about 8 months ago. I ended up camping out. So if you guys if you've heard of creatures like this, definitely, I'll put the link in comments. I was in Shenandoah on Strickler Knob about 8 months ago. I ended up camping out there despite 45-degree weather at night. I arrived at the parking area around 7 a.m. and noticed that there was no cars. I planned on spending the night and hiking back in the morning since it was quite a drive. After hiking the entire route and coming back halfway to set up camp, it was close to 3 p.m. I spent the rest of the afternoon and evening eating food, smoking a little reefer, and enjoying the peaceful area. After I finished watching a movie on my phone, I decided it was time to call it a night around 7 p.m. I put all the trash and remaining food items in the bag and hung it up 20 feet on the branch, about 150 feet away from my campsite. Good person. I was extremely tired, so after making sure I was safe from any predators, I went to grab some firewood and prepare to sleep. Hey, it's what you do when you go hiking. Didn't you know that, Cassie? As I grabbed some deadwood from a huge fallen tree, I heard an extremely intense rustling movement towards me for about 3 seconds that seemed to come from about 100 feet away. It stopped as soon as I stopped and faced the direction of the noise. Totally freaked out and about 50 feet from my tent, I slowly backed up with shining my flashlight in the area to hopefully to expose the source of the noise. Nothing. I made it back to my tent and was quite dark by this time, and I could barely see 10 feet in front of me. It was now about 8:15 p.m. I felt extremely unsettled, so I stayed outside of my tent and continued to stoke the fire, which only provided about 5 feet of light in every direction. It almost made me feel like a target more than it made me feel safe. I finally felt comfortable after no rustling around for about 20 minutes, so I headed to my tent for my much needed sleep. Just as I could feel myself transitioning to a deep sleep, I began to hear multiple women wailing in an extremely evil chanting manner that sounded like it was around 200 yards away, but was also very muffled and faint. As I came to my full level of awareness, it started to get louder in a matter of 30 seconds. It sounded like it was less than 50 yards away. I felt a level of adrenaline that I'd never felt before. It felt primal. My entire body tensed up and was hit with like it was hit with a stun gun or an ice bath. I would like to note at this point in the story that I was no longer intoxicated in any way, and I was feeling no residual effects of the small amount of marijuana I ingested several hours earlier. About 3 seconds after the noise got around 50 yards away, it totally stopped. I slowly crawled out of my tent and yelled, "Hey, who the fuck is that?" Complete silence consumed the entire 100 feet area that I was camped in. I turned my massive flashlight and shined it everywhere I could sense an eerie energy. Nothing. As I made my last round with my flashlight, I saw something that would change my view on monsters and paranormal forever. I briefly saw a woman for about 0.25 seconds who was fleeing from the tree line facing away from me, making almost no noise. She was wearing a medium-length white dress with insane amount of dirt all over it, and she was bald. She also had no shoes and was flailing her hands in the air while making no wailing noises anymore. She ran in the way of a child would if they were caught trying to sneak up on you. I couldn't even utter a sound. I began to fear for my life so badly that I began crying, and my face was stuck in a frowning position. I went into full panic and grabbed my pack, which is thankfully already set for my 5 a.m. departure, left my tent, and began running. I started making towards the tree line that markers for the trail started at. I could see a small light about 200 feet away in front of me at the bottom of the hill. I began running at the maximum safe speed, which was about 3.5 miles per hour with my 25-pound pack, considering it was 10:45 p.m. and the terrain was rocky and covered with roots and fine, slick dirt. I fell once coming towards the bottom of the first large descent and saw the same woman in my eyes and fell towards the ground during my fall. Luckily, I only scraped my knee and some gravel since I stayed on the sides of the trail. I started moving slowly and was constantly looking around, griping my Benchmade Adamus 375 knife tighter than ever. As I approached the last mile of the trail, which was totally flat and more grassy, I hadn't seen anything for over 2 miles. Suddenly and violently, I began to hear rustling from every direction, roughly 100 yards away. In back of me, it was coming up fast. I began running at a full sprint for the last 0.2 miles of the trail. Finally passing the trailhead and approaching the parking area, I made back to the car, and as I turned around, I saw 3 of the same woman I saw before, whom all began crawling on all fours, full speed away from me and towards the trail as I shined my headlamp on them. I cried for the first 20 minutes after driving all full speed away from the trail, just happy to still be alive and not fully grasping the situation. I made it back to Route 81 and still could feel the evil those human-like creatures emulated. Moral of the story, a hike with a partner. Holy crap, could you imagine that? Oh no, Little Red. Consistency. It's like, "You're not gambling. You're not gambling." No, it's yeah, it's timed. I can't imagine that. You might, Citizen Z. They might yeah, that's what it is. Streamlabs Bob's bot is like, "Oh, no, you need help, man." Oh my god, I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine not only 1, but 3 of these women, and what did I tell you? Let's get it off of there. I couldn't imagine, okay, I tell you because sit there and say that, seeing creepy things. I don't know what's happening with my computer. It's just all going freaky as usual. Um, Unnatural things disturb me. You know what I mean? Ghosts don't bother me. Ghosts don't bother me. Um, I don't jump scare by them anymore. I probably could if I was in, you know what I mean? I mean, here, living here, I don't jump scare by the stuff that happens here because I'm so used to it. But unnatural, the remake of The Exorcist where she spider walks down the stairway, stuff like that freaks me out. Or when things are crawling across the that you see on TV, things crawling across the ceiling, that freaks me out. To see these women, if this happened in a story like it said, to see these women crawling on all fours fast, it's kind of like what Ryan did. What I told you when Ryan had that, when he told you, if you'd seen that one. Um, Crawling really fast across the floor. That freaked me out. I asked my ex-husband what the fuck's wrong with him. Stuff like that really creeps me out. And to see those, I couldn't imagine seeing uh 3 women creep fast crawling through you know, back into the forest. No, that would freak me out. What do you guys think they were? Do you think they were demons? Do you think they were demons or do you think they were just and why'd they break out into 3? You did your job with 1. "Hey, Misty, how are ya?" You did your job with 1 scaring. Why do you need to break into 3 things? That's all I'm saying. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Things crawling around? Nope. I'm good. Let's see. You think it was a figment of their imagination? Manifestation. You don't think so, Nicole? Yeah. Andy, manifestations of the mind? Don't believe in demon and angels. Just as life, there are really good and really bad people. Stand to reason that in the afterlife there will be 2. You never know, Andy. You never know. But that could be somebody's man. If somebody, the way I look at things, if you believe in demons, then you'll probably, it's not that you'd manifest demons. I mean, you could. Um, that they're real in your world. Do you know what I mean? I think, Andy, me and you have the same view when it comes to stuff like that. Um, and that's just our opinions. Um, I just I believe just like when you pass away, whatever you believe in, what if you believe in heaven and hell, you'll go there. If you believe in, you know, just being energy, you'll go there, you know. Oh, freaky geek, let me tell you, uh, doing marijuana, I have never had a trippy experience on marijuana, where I hallucinated. Well, I can get freaked out on, but that's smoking 3 joints by myself and then going to work and seeing the police officer come in the store. That, that freaked me out a little bit. Of course, I was younger. Uh, yeah, exact kinda like the intent behind a spell. If you convince yourself that a spirit is bad, then you're gonna get that feedback to you. Yeah, I mean, I can say I'm 46 years old. I've been in the paranormal, um, and in my path since I was 16. Um, and I have never dealt with anything evil. I've played a Ouija board. You name it, I've done it. Done Bloody Mary. I've done I haven't done the By My Man. You guys got to keep thinking about the By My Man so he don't come after me though. Um, Yeah, exactly, just basing on own observations. Yeah, it's the same way with me, and I'm not saying when I say that, I'm not saying other people don't have those experiences. I truly believe they do. I'll never doubt somebody for having an experience. Never, ever will I ever do that. I just know my experiences. That's all I can know, right? I love hearing about other experiences, definitely. Um, ah, my scrolly won't work. There we go. Right, Nicole. That's how I feel too. Yeah. Not all spirits are evil. Definitely. That's funny. But I mean, and it could be, and it's, I don't know, is it the vibrations? I don't know. I don't know scientifically how that all works. I just know all I can do is go by what I've experienced. You know what I mean? If one of the one of the bots, not the bots, if one of the mods want to post you guys' pages in the link, go ahead and do that. You guys are allowed to do that. Thank you, Ron, for the ice cream. It didn't scare me because I saw it before it happened. Ooh, maybe I gotta. Thank you, Ron, for the ice cream. I appreciate that. You're awesome, false. Hold on one sec. There we go. Well, I thank you. The links to your groups, Cassie, yours and Mary's and Z's. Because Joanne said she can't find um oh, she's got your page, I believe. She can't find Awaken the Mind's page. But yeah, I mean, I believe you know, it's whatever you believe in, that's what you're gonna have around you. That's your world. We're all manifesting our own world. And again, this is my belief, my opinion, you know. Um I just believe that we allow and don't allow things in our own world that we want and don't want, if that makes sense. That probably don't make any freaking sense. What chapter of the book is the page you can't find? Oh, or Freaky Geek. You're silly. But yeah, so short show today. I'm doing different things on Thursday. I'm gonna still do game day on the weekends. It's just easier. I want to get your guys' opinion. What time? Thank you, Cassie. Thank you so much. What time would be a good time, do you think, on to do game time? Do you think it would do you oh Jesus, I keep hitting the mic, I'm sorry. What do you think 10 a.m. my time still runs true that it's a good time to do gaming even on weekends? Or would you rather have it at night? Excuse me. Just because I don't know, I want to get everything situated because I don't know when I'm going to be going back to work full time. They're not talking about it yet still, so I don't know what's going on. Um, Afternoon, like 1 Central, will be around your time, 10 a.m. Okay, because I'm going to do the games and stuff on weekends. Thursday, um Thursday, I'm changing into Thriller Thursdays. We're going to talk about unsolved mysteries, unsolved murders. I know, I beat up my mic all the time. Thank God it's heavy duty. But yeah, I'm going to start doing like no. No, like right now it's 11:30 a.m. my time. So is this time works for you guys? Yeah? Still? See? Take care, Skook. Good luck to get you get your floor done. I hope it flies and gets done quick for you. Okay. All right. So we'll still do gaming time. We'll just do it on the weekends. But yeah, Thriller Thursdays, unsolved murders and weird stuff. What the hell's that? Oh, probably the garbage man. Oh, I'm sorry, Nicole. It sucks having a sleeping disorder. That it does. Now, see, you put that in army time. I don't know what that means. I wasn't in the military. Eddie was. I have to sit there and go 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh my, here he goes. The lemon. What did I call him the other day? What did I call you, Z? The lemon hoarder? As soon as that runs out, if you guys want to run over to D Live, my D Live, and I don't even know if I have the link, but I will be opening up the chest over there if you want to start chest hyping the room. Let's see. Oh, there it is. We're going to hear the oh my's for a while. Thank you, Paranormal Files, for the 58 lemons. There we go. You want to head over to the D Live and start chest typing. Hello, Freaky Geek over there. I will be opening up that case as soon as I get there. After Z's little because Freaky Geek, you're a mod. You're the X person. You're the X person. I gotta open up Google so I can get over to the D Live. Oh no. You know, Z, I'd like to end the stream sometime soon. Thank you so much, Z, for the lemons. The 43 of them on that one. Oh, that scared me. My Chrome popped up and I was like, where'd everybody go? So if you guys just want to go over there and type chat, blah, blah. Am I blinking? There we go. Just copy this and start. Maybe not. It won't let me. Oh, there it goes. And I'm froze. Hold on, guys. Where is my... Oh, they. Z broke me. Z broke me. Hold on, guys. I'm coming. If I'm not there right now. I don't know what happened. I froze. I don't... Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh my God. Thank you for the ice creams. You guys didn't have to do that. Hold on. I'm coming. Mary can hear me? Okay. Yeah, somehow it disconnected or something. Am I moving on screen? I'm trying to get my D Live page up so I can... Okay, cool. All right. I'm moving on my screen. So yeah, like I said, if you head over to D Live, we're going to go ahead and roll the credits. Did I blank out again? Oh my God. I know, went into lemon overdrive. I know. The movement's choppy. At least you can hear me. All right. Thank you guys for the ice creams and the lemons. I saw a diamond come up there. You guys are the bomb. I swear to God, you guys are awesome. I'm going to go ahead and roll credits. Head on over to the D Live. Maybe I would just probably broke my stuff more. And as soon as the lemons and stuff stop, I will open up the chest. Or not. Did I freeze again? Oh. I'm sure there is, Andy, but I don't know where it is. I'm turning 50 Shades of Grey. Probably. Okay, well, it won't affect. Can you guys still hear me? Come on. Okay, you guys still hear me? That's good. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm going to add. Keep chatting over in D Live. And as soon as this lets me, I will go ahead and do this. Come on, Andy, now. Oh my. You're awesome, Z. Thank you so much for all the lemons. I will say that. I was going to make me some lemonade. Yeah, it's trying. Oh, thank you, Cassie, for the ice cream. You guys are awesome. You really are. Hold on 1 sec. I'm just going to wait till everything. Try a lime. Hey, Shrimp Shack, how you doing? How you been? So, guys, what do you think about Thursdays? Do you think that's cool with Thriller Thursdays? Unsolved mysteries, freaky stuff, you know. And I froze up again, so give me a second. Cool, cool. Yeah, and then we'll have the weekend to play around, you know? Oh no, what did what happened? Hold on a minute. I think I'm coming back. Hopefully. Because you guys are so awesome and donated so many lemons and ice creams and diamonds that you broke me. I love you guys for that. I don't mind being broke. You guys might. Hold on, I'm just waiting for it to come back, and so I'll just do open the chest. Let me see if I can pop this up. Okay. All right, guys, get ready. I don't know what's happening right now, but get ready. Okay, I pushed the button. It's not going yet. Look for the button. Look for the button. Oh, what'd that say? Oi. Did it go? Did it go? I don't know what's happening. Awesome, awesome. I didn't know what you guys got. I can't see anything. I see the gray. That's all I see. Unfortunately, I couldn't see. Awesome. I'm glad it worked. I'm glad you guys got some. Thank you guys so much for all the donations. You guys are just amazing. You really are. You really are. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Yeah, Paranormal Z. I didn't see how many lemons he did that time. Oh, another Cassie with the two two lemons and cream for Cassie. Thank you. Cassie donated 7 lemons. You guys are awesome. You guys are really awesome. I thank you. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and we'll see you tomorrow for Tarot Tuesday. Come get your free readings. Thank you, Mary, for the ice cream. Thank you, Z, for the lemon. You guys are amazing. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys, what you guys do, and hanging out and supporting me and just hanging out with me. I have so much fun with you guys talking about this. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And again, we'll see you here tomorrow for Tarot Tuesday, free readings. All right, guys, be safe, be well, love each other, and smile with those eyes. Will ya? For me, please? That's okay. Oh, you didn't get any Z? Oh, the credits. Oh, I thought you meant lemons. Never mind. See, this is why I'm ending. I'm having a nicotine fit and my brain is not all here. Take care, everyone. Be safe. And I absolutely love you guys. You guys are amazing. I have the best people that come into my views. And again, if you're listening to the podcast, please come on over and be a part of the show. I would love to have you. We all would love to have you. I can't end the broadcast yet. It won't let me end. I'm froze. So if you continue to hear me, definitely come on over. Thank you, Ron, for the ice cream. Thank you, Mary, for the ice cream. You guys are just simply the best. And again, like I said, if you are listening to the podcast, come on over and join the conversation. We'd love to have you come on over and give your opinions about these stories and what you think about them and everything. And as soon as I can end the stream, I will. But seriously, you guys are amazing. I thank you so much for everything you do for me. Like in my stream, sharing it out. You guys are just, I couldn't ask for a better crew to hang with. That's for sure. That is for sure. And I'm probably sitting here talking to myself because I am totally froze. So I'm going to shut down, guys. Hard shut it down. Oops, sorry, I hit the mic as usual. Take care, be safe, and I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out.